No, okay. All right. Can you guys confirm now? If you can hear me, I believe you should be able to hear me now. I I believe you should be able to hear me now. You can hear me now, right? Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Makes sense. Sorry. I just had to restart couple of times to get it going. All right, so let us get started. We already lost couple of minutes. That means 4 minutes so far. So we'll directly get into the session. But before I get into the session, I'll give you like couple of minutes for my introduction, and also you guys can type in where are you from, if you have taken GMAT before, what is the score, in what stage, I mean, what stage you are with respect to your preparation. Okay, so by the time I give my introduction and little bit idea about this session, you can just type in what exactly at what stage you are. Okay, and if you have taken. So this is basically is our bi-weekly onboarding session that is we conduct every fortnight. And what we try to do with respect to that is that there are many students who join the course, perhaps did not talk to us before purchasing the course, or maybe even they have uh, talked to us. They may not have a very fair idea about the exams, or maybe they don't know where to start. So this is basically to get going. Okay, so this is just to get started with this session. Okay, so this will basically give you the broad idea about it. It's not going to happen that all I'm saying is going to be true for all the students should follow that, not necessarily. Some of you may be at an advanced stage where you are sorted with one of the section, maybe you're sorted with quant, you are trying to help get a high score in verbal possible. Okay, but some of you maybe just want to push that score a little bit more. So all those aspects are there, right? But what I'm going to do primarily, we're talking about the person who wants to improve an area. Now it could be as a quant as a whole, it could be number properties as a discrete topic. Okay, now for this particular, so I haven't got any response from you guys with respect to where you, I mean, which stage you are in and all those stuff. So I'll definitely wait for that. So I am Shubhankar. I'm the quant head for GMAT quiz and GRE quiz, and I have roughly around 11 years of experience in the EdTech space. Initial first 6 years was not exactly EdTech. This was education industry. After that, I had a brief stint in corporate, about 3 years, and then like last 4 to 5 years, almost totally into EdTech industry. Okay, so this is it mostly about me and about this session. Like I told you, it is about to get started. So we'll talk about the preparation strategy. We're going to talk about one very important part, which is common mistake. This common mistake most of the students commit. So basically, what we're trying to do is that we are trying to educate you with respect to those mistakes so that you don't commit them. And third part, I'm going to talk about discrete in very brief. Okay, and this is mostly going to be the session around. So I see couple of response. One of the response I see from Ayush, okay, who is saying, okay, so you did your BTech, then you took the GMAT. After preparing for 50 days, scored a 620, target is 730. So you are looking for a target jump of 710. I already communicated with one of you. I think Brian, it was you. So you were targeting 750, but you did not tell me about your current stage. I received one more thing. Rhythm, you have roughly around 4 years of experience. Yeah, and then started GMAT prep recently. So possibly for Rhythm, for you, it is going to be very important. For others, you just need to make sure that you uh, maybe the entire part is not going to be that important, but obviously the idea, the philosophy of learning is going to be the same, right? Okay. So yes, so I haven't heard from couple of you at least. Okay, I see only seven of you, six, seven of you are here right now. Okay, so all right. So I'll just go ahead with the session. Meanwhile, you can definitely keep telling me about your experience with respect to GMAT. Okay, so let's move into the first part of the session, which is the preparation strategy. Now, what exactly is preparation strategy? It's basically the main part of it, right? So, what exactly I should do to get a good score? So, get your coveted B school, get your desired GMAT score. Okay. So preparation strategy is basically divided in different parts. So it's not like you are going into directly into the exam and then directly into the preparation and you are learning everything and then you are going for the exam. No, it's not like that. There must be a methodology to that. There must be certain steps to that. Okay. So what are those steps? We are going to talk about that. First step in case of your GMAT preparation, or for that matter, for any kind of preparation, is going to be learning stage. So what you are going to do in this particular stage is basically you are going to learn new concept. For example, suppose you are getting into prime numbers, so you will know what is a prime number, you will know what is prime factorization, you will know how those prime factorization help. So maybe you will now move to the next part, how to calculate the number of factors, which will be directly dependent on that. So these are the concept related part, which is I'm talking about learning, right? Okay. Now, when I say step one is learning, what are the main part here is that you go through your course in a sequential manner. Now, why that sequence matter? The sequence matters because when you are targeting it for the first time and you may not have a very good idea about where exactly you stand, you may have taken it diagnostic quiz with respect to our small diagnostic quiz, or maybe you have taken a mock as well, possible. Okay, but then those are based on a like 31 question, right? So it's not going to give you a holistic idea about it. Okay, so the course is designed in such a way, so if you are targeting it, if you are preparing for the first time, you should go with sequential manner, because in that sequence the first thing that is going to you will learn is going to apply in the next part. Like I gave you the example of prime numbers, unless you know prime factorization you won't be able to do your LCM GCD. That's why when you talk about numbers, we definitely have prime numbers or prime factorization before we move to LCM GCD. Okay. Similar thing you can talk about with respect to your verbal as well. For example, what exactly is an RC? RC is one of the area tested in GMAT, right? So in RC you have three, four, five, sometimes five paragraphs given. Okay. I mean, couple of students I talked in last couple of days, they told me that they had couple of RCs where they had 4 to 5 passages. Okay, so it means if they're passages, it means you need to understand the passage. Okay, the entire passage. To understand the entire RC, you need to know what exactly is given in the first passage, in the second passage, paragraph, in the third paragraph, in the fourth paragraph, and so on. Right? Now, to understand what is given in the first paragraph, you must know what is given in the first sentence. So basically, it starts with your sentence. Then it goes to your paragraph level, which is basically the critical reasoning, which talks about few sentences. Then we move into the RC. That's why it is given in sequential manner. Okay. So irrespective, suppose you were say, okay, I did well. I took an exam. I did well in my sentence correction. I need not to worry about sentence correction. Maybe fine. Okay. But ideal scenario, you should definitely go through those quizzes. You must make sure that your approach is fine with respect to SC before you move to your CR. And same thing, once your CR is sorted, you move to your RC. That's why the sequence are going to be very important. Okay, like for example, this is the example I already told you about, that even odd numbers important. Then we talked about prime numbers, then we talked about prime advanced, then we talked about LCM GCD. Okay, so the sequence is something going to be important. Now, what you do in this sequence, as you can see, there are 4 line items on the right hand side. Like this is a line item, this is a line item, this is a line item, right? Okay. So what you should do is that when you go through those line items, when you click on this start button, you are going to get some quizzes, you are going to get some video lessons. Okay, the video lessons, wherever there is a video, that is going to basically give you the learning part of it. Okay, now what it can be, it can be your concept video, right? And it can also be your concept booster. If you have seen it, this is concept booster. Okay, all right. Sorry. So concept booster, right? Now let's move to the next part of it. Let's see. Let's understand this with respect to this one. Even odd. This is a video which will be about your conceptual learning. So we'll talk about what are even numbers, what are odd numbers, what is the different operations of even odd. This will come here, right? This will be your conceptual learning. Okay. Now, this you look at your booster, that is going to be your application learning. Okay. So it's not only about talking about simple concept, it's talking about GMAT type question and how you should apply those learning, right? Okay. So whenever you see this video, you can see no this video. This is going to be your concept part of it. I understand this is an application. This will definitely touch a kind of, it will be a bridge between concept and application. Here you are definitely learn application with respect to questions. Okay, and this is where you test your understanding of the entire topic. Okay, before that you can see there is a small quiz here as well. This basically going to test you test your conceptual understanding. So they will have very basic questions, 600 level question, that you definitely should be able to solve if you have understand the concept well. So what is the main part here? Understanding. That is the main theme here. This is the part which is application. This is the part which tests your understanding. This tests the entire thing. Okay, so these sequences are going to be going to matter. Okay, and not only this sequence, how each topic is given, those sequences are also going to matter. Okay, so I already told you about this part. That is exactly what's given here. So your video lessons or concept solidifier, so understand whether it's fine or not, concept booster to apply, and the last one is to check your GMAT best skill if you are sorted or not. So this is exactly what we're going to do in the learning phase of it. Okay, so can I just see some? Okay, so I see one of the Brian, you said scored Q48 consistently from official mock exam, targeting 50 plus within September. Okay, now this is something is interesting within September. I'm going to come back to that particular part. No problem with easy medium, but issues with the hard question. I'm going to talk about that as well. Finding quicker way to solve or accuracy based approach at this stage. Okay, I'll definitely. I mean, this particular session is definitely going to answer this one. So I'm not going to answer it right away. Through the sessions, I'm going to answer it. Okay, so let's just move to the next part. Do let me know if you have any doubt with respect to that. Okay, you can definitely talk about that. Okay, now this is one part. Sorry, I forgot about that part. Official guide, very important part. So many students ask, where should I introduce my official guide? Where exactly this comes? Okay, now understand what exactly official guide is. Basically, they give you some official questions. So basically, you can see those are the type of question you can expect. Having said that, understand right now what we have realized in last couple of years, especially post COVID era, the questions that they give an actual GMAT is actually tougher compared to the official question. So you need to prepare with a higher level of questions. Okay, so this is one part you need to keep in mind. Having said that, does it mean we shouldn't bother about official guide? No, we should definitely bother about official guide, because that will give me some idea what kind of question can expect. Difficulty level can go up, but the type of question I can expect, the type of language they give, all those things are definitely going to come to this official question. Now, what exactly, when should I get into official guide? So for that, what I'll do, I'll part your entire learning into few parts. One is the verbal area. So verbal area is basically is there SC, CR and RC. For the quant area, I'll give it module name with respect to number properties, geometry, algebra, and word problem. Okay. Now, in these areas, it is perfectly all right. You finish a topic. For example, you finish your odd even, you move into the questions of odd even of OG question. You can move directly to OG. You finish prime numbers, basic prime number advanced, you can move to prime numbers OG. No issues with that. Okay. Same thing happens with the entire part. Absolutely perfect. Same thing happens with CR as well. Okay. Now, SC is one area, and preferably RC is also another area where you should finish your SC course before you move into official guide. The reason is that what you don't want is that you don't want to get into an SC question knowing that that question has a parallelism error, because then you'll be biased, right? Because the SC question comes in a way where you see the question and then you need to identify which kind of error is there. So if you solve the question after going through parallelism module, you will know that error is existing in that particular question, so you will be biased towards that. That is something we don't want. So SC is one module where you must take the OG only when you are done with the entire SC. Okay, for the other areas you can stick to that. Now RC is another area where you may decide that I will go through it after finishing certain part of the RC. That is fine, but again, understand one RC question. I mean, one RC passage will have 3 to 4 questions, right? So they may test you on different topics. So it's beneficial for you only to finish the RC and then go through that. Okay. So SC and RC is possibly a couple of areas where I would suggest that don't straight away jump into OG. Finish the entire SC. Make sure your understanding is solid. Okay, now I'll talk about that. What is the next stage about learning? Next after learning as well. I'll talk about that as well. So once you make sure your learning phase is done, okay, if there is any area where you are a bit concerned, you talk to your mentor, you sort it out, then you move to your OG. Perfectly all right. For the other areas, you finish your course, you move to the OG. Perfectly all right. No issues. Okay, so let's move to the next part of it, which is your fine tuning. Okay, now meanwhile, if you have any doubt, do let me know. Use the chat box to let me know. Okay. Now, this is something is going to be interesting. Why so? The previous part, learning part, is possibly going to be almost same for all the students. There could be minor changes here and there based on if you have taken the exam before, if you already talked to one of the person from the marketing team or anyone from the mentorship team who suggested you otherwise. But for a person who is trying for the first time, or for a person who actually wants to improve the entire path, there is no specific area where he or she is focusing, then that point of time, stage one is going to be almost similar, but idea is going to be similar. If you are improving your odd even or prime factorization, prime numbers, you definitely need to go through that particular part. Okay, fine tuning is that phase which is definitely going to be totally personalized. It will depend on where you suggest, where you stay. For example, dashboard is going to be very key. Now, what exactly is dashboard? Now, this is what, Brian, I'll come to you, uh, that part of it. You say that you are okay with easy medium question, but you find it difficult with hard level question. So I'll try to educate you with respect to the dashboard. How should you look into this dashboard? So this is just a part of one person's dashboard, one of the students' dashboard. So you can see in dashboard, the person is doing decimals is doing really well, primes are doing really well, these area fairly well, these area fairly well. Okay, but when I look at LCM, when I look at estimation, the person is doing not so well, this area also not so well. So this color coding are going to be vital. Now, what is the meaning of green color coding? The area which is green is basically suggesting the person definitely have a conceptual understanding and possibly have a very solid application understanding as well. Okay. Now, if the area is in blue, it means the person possibly have a conceptual understanding which is fairly good, but application understanding is so, not so great. Okay. Or maybe the person really struggle with application at times. Okay. Now, the next part, which is going to be red, is something that suggests the conceptual understanding is something where there is a scope of improvement. There is a lot of scope of improvement. Obviously, if there is a scope of improvement in your concept, definitely your application is not going to be solid, right? That doesn't make sense. So your application is definitely not really great, and your conceptual understanding definitely needs improvement. So what we'll suggest in those scenario, obviously I'm going with an assumption that this is after the person has gone through the course. So in that scenario, we definitely ask the person to go through this particular area, LCM, estimation. I'm talking about only number properties, LCM and estimation, and go through the concept video as well. Concept video plus booster, both the part, because the person hasn't really grasped the concept well. Okay, this person possibly has grasped the concept well, so that person will suggest to move to the booster. For these people, will suggest, I mean, for this area, I'll suggest that you can move to the OG, start solving your OG question from those area, or we can even, if the person has already solved OG question, we'll ask them to get into the mode of solving question from the quiz, where you take timed quiz. Okay. For context, so I have another question. For context, started studying in mid-June, used all OG advanced, all questions after TTP. Okay, Brian, I'll get into that as well. Okay, so this is how you can look at the dashboard. Your dashboard is going to be very important. Now, understand, some of you, like if you have prepared before, okay, so since this is one of the key USP, we believe that your dashboard gives you a lot of understanding. So you need to feed your dashboard, right? This is data. Now, this data will be more solid when you have more data, feed more data. So unless you solve a lot of question, this dashboard is not going to give you a realistic picture. So you can't solve 5 questions and expect, okay, my dashboard is going to suggest something. That's definitely not going to happen, right? So you must, when you say, can I do it next 7 days? You may be able to do it next 7 days, but you won't be able to take the benefit of dashboard, because your dashboard will need data. It will suggest you something. Based on that, you will work on certain things. So that is going to take time. That's why when Brian, you say that you want to do it within September, I understand that. But at the same point of time, you need to give the dashboard that data. Okay, so the onus is on you. Can you feed that enough data to the dashboard? Can we work with the mentor as per the exactly what's to be done? Because you don't have a lot of time to do iteration, right? So you need to be absolutely perfect with your preparation, that I do this, I do this, I do this. Based on this, I got some inputs. Okay, I need to work on these areas, I work on these areas, I take quizzes, and so on. Okay, now this is where you, so especially for the people who have definitely taken the exam and have a better understanding that where they stand and all, for them dashboard is definitely, we will definitely rely. And your mentor is going to be very important. So you should definitely get in touch with your mentor, schedule a call with your mentor, understand what's to be done. Okay, have a plan according to your deadline. At the same point of time, understand your plan is not something should lead to your deadline. It's not like that. It's not like you set a deadline and then work towards it. That's a wrong way to do it. You should always make sure that your bases are solid, your application is solid, you do your practice quiz, you do your mock, and then you take your actual GMAT. Okay, so these are going to be the steps. These are the steps I must follow. Okay, sometimes obviously if you have taken the exam, obviously some of the things we can definitely fast track it, but it's not like we cannot totally omit that one. I can't really remove the entire mock from the kitty. That's not going to happen. I cannot remove the application part of it. It's not going to happen that you will know the concept, you will just learn the concept and you will directly get into mock. No, that's not going to happen. So these are the steps which is definitely must happen. So if you have a target, obviously you need to talk to your mentor, see how feasible it is. If it is feasible, what are the things input that you need to give, how much hours you need to put. So plan it out accordingly. Okay, now coming to the next part of it. Okay, so when I talk about practice quiz, there is something called whiz quiz. So when you talk to your mentor will guide you to use whiz quiz, which is going to be a key part of your practice. Okay, so when you get into your mock, before you get into mock, this quiz is going to be the main part. So understand, the course question are there which you should do. The course you should do at the first level. This is first. The second thing, you should do your OG. The third thing comes your whiz quiz. Obviously, if someone has already done OG, obviously you will move to whiz quiz. You talk to your mentor, you will move to whiz quiz. That makes sense. Okay, you move to your whiz quiz, then you move to your mock and all those stuff. Okay, now this is something I'm going into the next part of planning. Okay, this is one part. Let me just talk about this thing, which is going to be important. Let me remove that part. The last point, which is simultaneous learning and fine tuning. What does that mean? Okay, now understand, when you are into learning phase, you shouldn't get into the fine tuning phase, the second phase. That shouldn't happen. You must be in your learning phase, then move to fine tuning. But what does that mean of simultaneous learning? It means, suppose you are done with your SC learning, your SC learning is sorted, and you are moving into CR. Now, if you are moving into CR and moving into the learning phase of CR, obviously you can very well move to SC next stage, which is fine tuning phase of SC, right? So that is not a problem. So once you are done with your SC learning, you can move to the SC fine tuning. You should move to SC fine tuning rather. Okay. But while doing your SC learning, you shouldn't move to fine tuning. Okay. So this particular point basically talks about that. That once you are done with one part of it, you can definitely get into the fine tuning part of that particular aspect. But you shouldn't get into the fine tuning part while learning in it. Okay. The next part is going to be mock. Now, when you should take mock? Very important question. Okay. So in GMAT quiz, we have 5 mocks, that is like inbuilt in-house mocks. Apart from that, we have another third-party mocks, 800 mocks. There are 5 of them as well. So you have good 10 mocks to try it out. Okay. Um, when you should get into mock, you must get into mock once you are done with this. Now, there is no, in such a scenario, there is no way you are going into your mock before you are finishing your learning and fine tuning. Understand, you can take one of the mock as your diagnostic quiz. That is perfectly all right. Getting before you getting started with your preparation, just to understand where you stay. I mean, where you are. Basically, suppose you have got a score of 600. I'm checking a random number. You got a score of 40 here. You got a score of 35 here. Something like that. So you know, okay, my verbal is okay. I need to improve here. My quant, I need a lot of improvement here. Okay, so to have that idea, you can take a quiz. I mean, can take a mock, no issues with that. But once you are getting into learning and fine tuning phase, you are not going into mock unless you are absolutely sorted about your learning and fine tuning phase. That's why, Brian, when you say you are targeting all the stuff, it will all depend on your fine tuning and learning all those things. So get in touch with your mentor so that you can plan it out smoothly. Smoothly. Now let's talk about this particular bit. Okay. So what exactly purpose of it? What is the purpose of mock? Understand, the purpose of mock is not just to take a mock and see where exactly you stand. No, that's not going to be the case. It can be a place where you can experiment. This is definitely a place where you will analyze your mock, you will strategize as well. Now, what exactly analysis and strategies means? Suppose you are taking your quant and you see you have taken couple of mocks and you see that most of both the times you are you run out of time after 27th and 28th question. Suppose, so you know that I struggle with time, right? So this is the learning you have, that I definitely struggle with time. So what should I do in those scenarios? Okay, now suppose there could be ideal scenarios that you improve your timing. Fine, that is definitely there, one of the things. Now suppose your exam in 5 days time. I'm just giving. Ideally, it should not happen, but suppose your exam is in 5 days time. So can you really work on your timing aspect within 3 days and then take a mock on that? May or may not be possible, right? So if there is a couple of areas where you need to improve, you can do that. But if there are a lot of areas, you may not be able to do that. Okay. So those in the scenarios, your timing, your strategy is going to be very important. What do I talk about when I talk about strategy? What do I mean by that? It's like, if you can attempt 28 questions, suppose you can attempt 28 questions, so you should spread it out well. What I mean by that, suppose you give a lot, make sure you first 8 question, next 8 question, you just, I'm talking about quant. Okay, so first couple of section, you get them, all of them correct, try to get all of them correct. Now see, if you to get them correct, you know you have consumed more time because you struggle with time. You cannot attempt 3 questions which is worth 6 minutes, so you definitely lose time while solving these questions. Okay, suppose you lost time. Okay, then what? So you are left with 15 questions at that point of time. Obviously, depending on a lot of factors, there could be factors, thing that where you decide, no, I'm not going to try all the 15 question left, because say I have 25 minutes left. I'll rather pick up 12 to 13 question and choose 12 to 13 question and try to get them correct, right? So here you need to be choosy, so you need to know when to leave a question. That is going to be very important. Not only that, you are stuck in a question, you know how to solve that question, but somehow the answer option is not coming. When exactly to leave that question, what to do in those kind of scenario? Okay, suppose there is a DS question, you don't have a clue, how you utilize those option to get a clue, have a better idea about it, better attempt better guess at it, right? All those things are there. Okay, so your timing is one of the thing. What are the areas you need to improve is definitely going to come under the analysis, and based on that you strategize. There will be strategy webinar on our course only. Okay, so there will be strategy webinar on our course only, which you should definitely take up once you are done with the course, once you are done with the entire learning and fine tuning phase. So Brian, you asked how do you get the dashboard? Dashboard is there when you log into the system. You can see on the left hand side there is the dashboard, but dashboard is basically something you feed data and it gives you in output, right? So you need to solve question, you need to go through the course, so see the dashboard evolving. If you log into the system on the left hand side, and if you just hover your cursor on the left hand side, you can see the first option is dashboard. Go there, I'm pretty sure you will be able to understand, or else definitely shoot a mail to us or the support team. I'll give the ID for the support team and my ID as well. Okay, so this is something going to be very important in mocks. So mocks is only after learning and fine tuning, and the purpose is not to only check your score, it's about analyzing and strategies. Okay, so any doubt before I move into the common mistake part? I'll give a pause of a minute so that you guys also catch your breath. I can also catch my breath as a little bit. So you can definitely let me know if you have any doubt. I'll just talk for 30 seconds and then you can, I'll just wait for if you have any queries. So Brian, I told you, let me know. You can just straight away log in and tell me if you can see it. If not, just drop me a mail. I'll share the mail ID. I think you guys, you have my mail ID and support ID, both of them, I believe. This is my ID and this is the support ID. Okay. So yeah, I'm waiting for anyone. You can just give me a confirmation that if I can move to the next part, which is the common mistake. Okay, so there is a question: how to develop ability for 700 level question. Okay, let's understand this interesting question, right? Okay, mm, let's do one thing. Let's go to the common mistakes, and when I go to the common mistakes, I'll tell you about that. Okay, I'll relate to this because there is a one common mistake which we do. So that will be very much related to your question. So I'll talk about that. Okay, let's move to the common mistake part of it. Okay, what exactly one of those? I'll talk about two common mistake, two very common, most common mistake. One of them is solution review. So what is the solution review? It's rather lack of solution review. So what many times what happens, we see students, they come to us and they say, when we go for the mentorship sessions, so they say that I'm going to the solution, but then I'm somehow not improving. Okay. Now, when they ask them, what do you do? Okay. So, what they generally do, when I say generally do, many of them, not all of them, obviously, they skip one of the stages of review. Okay. So, then what are the stages of review? Let's talk about that. If I talk about quant, one of the stage, the first thing is that there will be a question given, question stem is given. So, you need to understand it, right? So, you must understand what is going on, right? Then you need to analyze. What is your analyze? Analysis could be, if it is a DS question, you could be something like you find out the different consider cases. So you find out different scenarios. Okay, that could be one of the part. Or if it is related to quant, say a question related to permutation combination, then you find out same thing. You find out, okay, it is a question from permutation combination, so how I can arrange them. So you think about, okay, if there are five people, I'm just giving you a random question. Okay, if there are five people and five chairs, in how many ways I can arrange them? Okay, it is a question where I need to arrange them, so I can go for the filling space method. Some of you may not be aware of it, but then you may know this formula. It's like first one I have five choices, then four choices, then three, then two, one. Okay, and the last part is your calculation. So this is basically your analysis part of it, where you decide, okay, I need to use this formula, and then you calculate and get your answer. Okay, right? Sorry, my bad. 120. You get your answer. Okay. Now, similar thing happens with your verbal as well. In verbal, suppose there is a question on SC. Now, there will be a sentence which will be underlined part will be there. Okay. Now, what should you do over there? Okay. You understand, you analyze. Now, what exactly I analyze? This is something in our course we talk about. Analysis is nothing but it's two things there. One, the primary part is that you understand the meaning of it. So you follow the meaning based approach. Okay. When you follow the meaning based approach, a lot of error you find out, you will be able to find out. That will help you with this stage of elimination options. Okay. Now in SC, it will be meaning based. If it is CR, then it's going to be the same stage, will be named something else. There we'll talk about pre-thinking. Okay. If it is RC, we'll talk about evolve and involve reading, that particular bit of it. Okay. Now, these are the things which are important. So many times what happens, the student don't do while solving the question. Okay. This is solving the question, they don't do it. This is the first mistake. Okay. Now, what is the second mistake? While reviewing solution also, they don't follow this stage. Okay. So they don't just follow this particular stage. They don't do this. What is the meaning of that? Let me remove this part so that you can see what is given. So if I talk about my quant area, it's understanding, then analyze, then you calculate or eliminate option. It could be quant or verbal. For verbal, it's mostly eliminate option. For quant, it is calculation. Okay. Student directly when going to the solution, they see the question, understand the question, directly getting into calculation of the answer or eliminating of the option. This happens mostly with verbal, by the way. This happens most frequently with verbal, where they totally eliminate that second stage of analysis. So what should they do? They should not do that. They must follow the proper approach. This is a question. Let's see one example of question. So you see an underlined part which will have a meaning, which will definitely have a mistake in it or may have a mistake in it. Then what? They directly jump into the answer option. They eliminate the answer option. Okay, this is something wrong. What they should do? This is what is the part in our solution we have. You must go through. Okay, so you must go through, and your approach, your accuracy is going to go up. Your accuracy is going to go up only when this particular part is matching with your understanding. So sorry, your understanding and our understanding should be as much as similar, same as possible. Okay, so it's not as much as similar as possible. Okay, this is what we need to see. If this particular stage, when you go through your solution, when you see this particular stage is that I'm doing 90%, 95% of the things are okay, going exactly the way it's given in the solution, your accuracy will definitely jump. Okay, but many times what the student do, they saw the question, they got it wrong, they see this question here, they directly jump into this. Okay, say okay, fine, this is correct, I understood why I got the question wrong. Okay, and they move to the next stage. No, they should rather focus on how I kind of get a similar understanding, which is definitely discussed in this particular stage. And this is going to happen, and this is going to be true for quant as verbal, most importantly in verbal, because most of the struggle we see with respect to these areas is in verbal. Okay, quant is little different. I'll talk about those areas as well, because when then you said about 500 level, 700 level question, I'll talk about that quant and verbal separately with respect to that. Okay, so I already told you this is ideally you should do. Read your question, understand it, see the intended meaning part. If it is a essay question, see if you are almost there or not. If you are almost there, most likely you got the question correct as well. If you are not there, most likely you got it wrong. Okay, now let's talk about the second mistake. This is the part where I'll answer your question about 700 thing. Now, many times what happens, student becomes restless that I'm solving the question, I get the question, but I'm taking a lot of time to solve this question. What should I do? Okay. Now, there are primarily three type of scenario which is we see in students. One is this scenario where we look at the dashboard. Brian, you might have seen similar thing in the dashboard where The dashboard gives you the accuracy, and the person has gone through the RC, doing fairly well with respect to accuracy. I will not say that it's perfectly all right, but doing fairly well. Like 75, more than 70, almost 80% accuracy throughout is fairly well. Okay. Now that person is doing well, and the time is not a concern, major concern. Now this is the ideal scenario. Okay. But this is not something we should straight away chase. Okay, this is something should not be chased. Okay, if we get it, perfect. But if we don't get it, it's still fine. Okay, now then what are the more common scenario? The second one I see is the most common scenario where the person is doing really well with respect to the accuracy. The person is struggling with the timing. Now understand this bit. When you struggle with time, why do you struggle with time? Let me give you an analogy to it. Okay, what exactly this means? So these are the people who are having good accuracy. So it means they understand the concept, right? Okay, but not so good timing. It means they do not do it very quickly. Okay. Now think about your learning in something new. Suppose you are driving, learning to drive. Okay. So you don't know how to drive. You are learning to drive, and what is your primary target that you want to go from your home to your office? Okay. Now suppose it is. I'm just giving you a random scenario. 10 kilometers away. Okay, suppose you are in a city and you take 30 minutes to drive over there. Okay, and in the peak hours you take 30 minutes. Okay, now understand, if it is peak hours and you need to take 30 minutes, what should be your primary focus here? If it is peak hours, your primary focus should be make sure that you reach safely, isn't it? Because there will be a lot of traffic, so you shouldn't definitely ram into the other car. Okay, so your basics must be correct, right? Okay, so there could be scenarios, some question which may need more time. Now if your initial days, first few days, obviously understand, maneuvering car in a city, suppose you have a big car, so in a city will be much difficult task. But after few years, when you master it, it will not take much of time. Okay, so it is perfectly all right to take more time initial days. As you increase your experience, as you drive more, or as you solve more question, as you get familiar with them, your timing will automatically drop. But at the same point of time, if you decide, okay, I'm going on a highway, I'm going for a trip, and then my target is to reach, say, this place which is 200 kilometers away, and I want to reach in within 1.5 hours. First day you go there. All right, Ayush. All right. Okay. So that's fine. Okay. So now coming to that. So you are trying to go there and you were saying first day I will hit 120. May not be possible. Okay. Most likely you will meet with an accident. I mean, hopefully not, but then I'm just give you an example, right? So you shouldn't try to do that. What you should try to do, learn your driving, learn your methods fine. Once your methods is fine, soon with time your accuracy is definitely sorry, your timing is definitely going to drop. Okay, but if your accuracy is not good, if your driving skills are not good, doesn't matter, you are definitely going to struggle. So the first and foremost thing is always going to be your accuracy, and the second thing is going to be automatic. You understand, with your increase in understanding, the timing is nothing but a byproduct of your understanding. When you have a very good understanding of the topic, your timing will all of a sudden start to decline. Okay, timing will definitely decrease. Decline will be wrong word, I think, negative connotation, but time will definitely decrease. Now this is one thing you must avoid. Okay, what is that part? That your accuracy is low, your timing is bad, or your accuracy is low, your timing is good. That is also a strict no. So this is something we shouldn't do. This is the ideal scenario, but this is the most common scenario. Don't worry if you are here. Don't worry about that. If you are here, perfect, ideal scenario. Okay. So now coming to that question that you told me, you asked me about 700 level question. So 700 level question is something that driving in the car, not on a highway, rather in the traffic. Okay. So your skill should be more better. So once your skill are better, when your application is better, when your concepts are better, you will start to deal with 700 question level question better. But understand, as a thumb rule, you can say, if I'm talking about less than 600 level or 600 till 650 level question, possibly those questions will not be very application heavy. But whenever I'm reaching 700 or even 700 plus level question, those questions are going to be application heavy. Okay, so this is where the booster file I told you about, booster file is possibly going to be your go-to area in those scenarios. Having said that, this is just a broad idea from the experience I have, but you must talk to your mentor as well, because this 700 question may not only be about application, it could very well be about your conceptual understanding as well. So your mentor will be able to help you better with that. Okay, but it's most likely it is due to the application bit of it. Okay, so I hope I answered that query of 700. It is related to your conceptual understanding, which with increase in conceptual understanding will definitely decrease the time consumption. Once your time consumption is decreasing, you will be in better control of the exam. Once you are in better control of the exam, you will be able to devote better time to, I mean, time to the questions. For example, if you get a 600 level question, don't need 2 minutes to solve that question. Possibly most of the times you will be able to solve it within a minute. So if you get a 700 level question, you can actually afford to give 2 minutes 15 seconds, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Sometimes, not all the questions. Sometimes you may be able to do that. Okay. So timing is something is going to no be taken. You will be able to take care of that provided you take care of your accuracy, your approach. Okay, so I believe I have told you about these couple of mistakes. Make sure you don't commit that. Don't be too conscious about the timing, and definitely review the solution correctly. Okay, again I'll give 30 seconds. If you have any doubt, then I'll move to the last part of it, which is Discord. You can definitely ask me if you have any queries. Anything? Okay. I don't see any question. You can definitely ask me. I'll definitely come back to that question. Let's move to the Discord. Now, this is honestly speaking bit disappointing as well. So I'll tell you, this is something we have Discord server wizard by Gmatways. Okay, but we haven't seen sadly not much response with respect to the existing student. Okay, we are working on that with respect to, because this is something we wanted to create for the student to help each other. Okay, so I'll talk about that, what exactly it is supposed to be. So this is something a student driven community, because many times what happens, you may have some doubt with respect to your preparation, you may have some doubt with respect to some of the question or some of the concept, or maybe with respect to your motivation. All those things definitely in, this is a journey, right? This is a journey, and since we put so much emotional attachment towards this journey, it is likely, it is definitely possible that many times you feel low, many times you may feel high. Okay, so this is basically a place where you deal with all those emotions alongside your subject matter related doubt as well. But this is something we wanted to create, which will be student driven, because understand, we won't be able to moderate every now and then and going to come here. Obviously we are going to moderate, we are going to come and see if we can add value or to any of the discussion. But unfortunately, I mean, even after a lot of asking the student to do it, we haven't seen a lot of responses where what we like, we'd love to be. Okay, we have certain, I mean, people who are sometimes who will definitely drop a message or something like that to ask help and all the stuff. But I would definitely love to have it more engaging as such. Okay, at the same point, okay, this is something we created for student driven. Okay, so the onus is on the student. Okay, obviously we are trying to find out different ways to make sure that it gets going, since you guys are a new batch of students. So mostly most of you have joined within the last 15 days. So hopefully we will get a positive, more positive response from you guys compared to some of the other people. I understand a lot of stuffs are there. For example, last 1 month or couple of weeks, students are very busy with their round or application. So this could be one of the reason where people are not so active, possible as well. Okay, but then in general also it's bit disappointing. So I would definitely hope that you guys are more active compared to the other first few lot of people we have. This is pretty new. Okay, so it's not like that even if it is not working right now we're going to stop. We're definitely going to find out some other means to do it, but right now we are definitely relying on the student to help themselves. Okay, so this is something you can definitely search and join this wizard by Gematwiz. In case you do not find out, you can definitely drop a mail to support@gematwiz.com. Okay, they will guide you with respect to that, what to be done with respect to that. They will definitely guide you on that. Okay. Now, having said that, I'll just give you a little brief idea. These are the points, what exactly it is going to be there. Like you connect with your fellow test takers, maybe possibility. Some people feel inspired if it is like they want study buddies. Like it happens with gym buddies, right? It's very common, right? You don't feel well, you don't feel every day like go out of your house and go to the gym. So you have your gym buddies, and then all of a sudden you start going to the gym regularly. Something like this as well. Every now and then you should be motivated, but sometimes we understand when you have a study buddy or something, someone who is there when you are supposed talking about certain doubts or just like that taking care of. It's most like not exactly going to help with your studies, but kind of an accountability as such. Okay. So if you have a accountability partner or something like that, that definitely helps. It's on mostly on that line. Okay. Now you can definitely get into your discussion or something. If you have any issues you're facing with respect to preparation, you can definitely talk about that. You can inspire other people if you have got a good score, or if you are struggling with, say you are struggling with a 500 score, you got a 700 score, you can definitely talk about the stories to inspire others as well, right? So this is something the purpose of it. So we definitely expect that you guys will be more active, but right now we are in the beta phase. So just hold on for a week or so to see when you get a invite to join the channel. Okay. If you don't get an invite or something, I'll just drop me a mail. You have my mail ID. Just drop me a mail. I'll try to see what exactly happening with respect to that as well. Okay. All right. So this is it from my side, and thank you everyone for attending the session. Uh, so if you do not have any doubt, I would definitely end the session, but I will give you good 1 minute to ask any kind of doubt that you have. So let me just see who else are here. Okay, so Ayush, Ritam, Brian, Tanni, who else? I see. Saw some couple of more names which I cannot. I don't know why, how I cannot see the name right now. I can see the number. I cannot see the name. Anyway, that's fine. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ritam, for coming to the session. Okay, all right, guys. If you do not have any queries, I'll end the session. But again, I'll give 30 more seconds. If you have any queries, shoot out here. If not, you can definitely shoot your queries to support@gmatwiz.com, or my email ID I have given, shubhankar@gmatwiz.com. Okay. All the best to with your preparation. Hopefully you achieve your dream score and achieve your dream score soon. All right, guys. I'm ending the session. I don't see any queries or anything. I'm ending the session. Thank you once again. Take care. Bye.